Hey, what's up everybody? How's it going? Today is September 12th, day after 9/11, September 12th, 2022. And I'm going to get into this book here, Subway Lives, by Jim Dwyer. It's got a lot in it, very interesting stuff. We'll go over some of it, but I can't say I found anything that's not truthful. You know, things I wouldn't know if it's truthful or not, as far as it goes with graffiti myth busting. But I can almost myth bust like what I was saying before, actually, about JA and them. This book pretty much is word for word what I said. It's crazy. This book was just brought to my attention in middle August. Someone mailed it to me. They're a follower of mine on YouTube, and they were asking me about this, about my myth busting, my graffiti myth busting. They said they want. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. You would have to send it to me. I don't know what the fuck JA and then we're doing in California. Mail me this book. All right. Now there's that. And I would like to take this moment to thank all my Patreon subscribers. Very good, good money. Ka-ching, definitely. My OnlyFans. Yeah, big thing, yeah. I'm going to definitely be doing that. Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you very much. Almost ready to go to Italy to do my seminar, but yeah, you guys got to give me more money, and then I'll be able to do that, travel around. I could become a spokesperson. Graffiti, real graffiti. Yeah. Nah, I'm fucking with you guys. I got no Patreon. I got no fucking friends only. I'm fucking with you, but tell me no. You guys were like, oh shit, you know, you felt like you were missing out on something, right? So don't sit there saying that I shouldn't charge people for shit. I just don't want to, because then people will say it's all about money. That's the only reason I'm not doing it. Let me just look at my thing, because it looks like the light went off. I just want to see what that is. I'm not going anywhere. Stay right where you are. Yeah, looks like it's good. All right, so now about that guy Tocer, T-O-C-E-R, that went over my RD tag there on 58th Street. Yeah, now the guy's threatening my life. He says he's going to wipe the streets with me. He's going to beat me up. No, I'm only fucking with you. He ain't saying that. Matter of fact, he reached out to my boy Psych and was like, yo, I'm so sorry, this, that, blah, 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 blah. And he Instagrammed me too, but I did not read the message. I really don't give a fuck what the guy's got to say personally. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But funny thing is, someone also sent me a message on Instagram telling me that he actually did an RD tag over it now. Like he fixed my tag back. And I mean, now they're going to come and lock me up. They're going to be like, yo, Rob, what the fuck, man? I mean, what am I going to do? Say, oh, Toaster did it? No, I'll actually have to take that arrest. So I'm probably giving you guys ideas. Shit, we could get RD in trouble. But, yeah, there's that. But, yeah, I don't have no ill will towards that dude, man. Like I said, I couldn't even read this shit. Some of you guys are talking about crossing the guy out and this and that. And that's the last thing I'd want. I just really used that as an example. That's all it was. I got no ill will towards the fucking guy, but it is what it is. It's a scumbag move. It's a yellow belly scum worm move. But yeah, I'm sure, you know, there's some kind of reason behind it or something. I mean, but let's get into this book, all right? Like I said, yeah, a couple of you guys are talking about going and fucking with the guy and crossing out. So don't do that. Don't do that on my behalf. I'm not condoning that behavior. I mean, violence amongst violence only brings more violence, people. Have you learned anything from what I've been telling you people on here? I got no ill will towards the guy. Like I said, I'm sure, you know, he gets the message. Funny thing is, I looked at my Instagram. Like I said, I didn't even open it. His Instagram thing. You know, when he sent me a message. But I did look at the hours he sent it. And he sent that shit like 6, 7 in the morning. And I think that thing was posted at 6 or 7 in the morning. Like that's by the time that thing got downloaded on, because me and my son went to sleep. My son left it downloading as we went to bed. Woke up the next day. So yeah, there's one question I would like to ask the guy, is how many people actually got in touch with him from watching my YouTube and like, yo, you fucked up, man, you went over RD. I'd like to know how many people Because then that goes to show you how every single human being I mention on here actually gets the news, so to say. They hear about it literally within an hour. I swear that thing was posted. I guess you could probably do the math. It should actually have the exact moment that the thing was downloaded and able to be viewed. And I could actually look at the exact moment he sent me that Instagram. But right now, I'll probably watch that shit and delete it. So once I'm done with this, I'll actually screenshot his Instagram message he sent me. But I got no ill will towards the guy. But I was actually using that as an example as to graffiti, like my life story in that area. That's exactly how it happens over and over again for decades. Let's get into this book. Now, this is Subway Lives by Jim Dwyer. Right. Now, I'm not going to read the whole fucking book to you. I'll do it on Patreon. No, I'm fucking with you. But, I don't know, there's a few parts that's like right here. Look, let me get rid of the cover. You guys can see the cover. I'll put it in the thumbnail, but let me get rid of this cover. And I got this light on here so I can read it. And my eyes, it's not like I'm blind or anything like that, but I want to be able to see it and read it. I don't want to be over here like, the dog. You get me? But Subway Lives by Jim Dwyer. Now, I just want to show you the back here. See, right there, left. Okay. J.A. John Advelson, his interviews, he's got a lot of pages on it. Page 7, page 12 through 13, page 91, page 184 through to 187 to 188, 189, page 190, page 191, 235, 236, 239, 248, 251, 252, 253, 284, 286, 289, 292. It also got stories in here from Venn, Reese, Smith, Sane, Sony, Audi, Slick, which I believe passed away, so I don't know. This book might actually be before Slick passed away or something like that, but I don't know. But give me 1 second. I'm just going to read a little bit of it, just the part that I had marked here. Now, like I say, I really don't see anything that I can actually say is not true. But let's start right here. The day before J.A. and Reese blew out of Los Angeles, they'd driven to the U-Haul place and rented a container for the car roof. As he packed up, getting ready to leave town, J.A. figured he had racked 700 cans of spray paint. Actually, he had 700 cans left, having gone through 3,000 cans during his 8-month stay in Los Angeles. I was getting 150 cans a day, J.A. told Reese. The paint is beautiful out here. The racks are incredibly easy, which meant it was no trouble for him to swipe cans, a dozen at a time, from the shelves of racks. In New York City, they were locked away in ordinances. Not so in L.A., which its innocence had never been invaded by the likes of J.A. on racking binges. Some kids called it inventing their paint. The penal code calls it theft. By whatever means J.A., let me look at this clock. You guys got what's going on, right? 5:33 right now. All right. You know, I got to keep an eye on the clock or this thing's going to shut off. By whatever means J.A. and Reese could be returning home with an arsenal of unprecedented proportions by New York City graffiti standards, all of it packed in the U-Haul roof container. J.A. had left his mark behind on the West Coast. Of course, there were no subways out there. It was, after all, L.A., the expressway capital of the world. So J.A. bombed highways walls, buses, all through Venice. He warred with KSN, King Stop at Nothing, a major graffiti crew on the west coast of California. Within a week or two, this is J.A.'s words, and this kind of proves to you like what he did to me and what he's done to everyone. Within a week or two, I just wiped them out, everything they had, for no real reason. J.A. said, that's it, for no real reason. That's what J.A. said, for no real reason at all. J.A. had been in Los Angeles to try an acting career as the movie director who filmed Joe, Rocky, and The Karate Kid. His father, John Avildsen, had found J.A. a part in Karate Kid 3 as a henchman of the evil guy terrorizing Ralph Macchio. I don't know, I'm not good with Italian names. Macchio, you know, the fucking guy from Karate Kid, man. All right, where were we? All right, Ralph Macchio. When that wrapped up, the young Avildsen found little work in acting and spent his time picking tag fights with the local graffiti writers. They were making millions of public threats, he says. I was going to be shot, said J.A. That they had the Bloods and the Crips looking for me, which they swore to be true. Wait, that don't make no sense. Let me reread that. All right, let me see. All right. When that wrapped up, the young Avildsen found little work acting and spent his time picking tag fights with the local graffiti writers. They were making millions of public threats that I was going to be shot, said J.A. That they had the Bloods and the Crips looking for me. The Bloods and the Crips. Oh, yeah, there's a bad boy. This guy's really, he's dangerous. All right, so yeah, the Bloods and the Crips looking for him, which they swore to be true to me. Reese, this is Reese now, Todd James, had arrived in town a week before to keep him company on the trip back to New York. J.A. and Reese were part of a small crew of upper-class white boys in Manhattan who had taken to graffiti writing. Most of the kids in graffiti were poor Hispanic and African Americans. But there were folks like J.A., the son of a major movie director, and Reese, a gifted artist from Manhattan's Soho, and the Smith brothers, known as Sane, which is David Smith, and Smith, which is Roger Smith, whose father was a professor at New York University. That's NYU, okay? All right. The Smiths' most famous tags were executed on the Brooklyn Bridge. Right? Haunting a romantic 19th century engineering poem that saddles lower Manhattan and Brooklyn. The audacity of the boy. You want me to read it? I mean, I can, but all right, let me go through that. That's not right. It's not boring. It's boring to me. But all right. But I just know it's not really true. But E.X. Kevin had that spot before those guys. A bridge, the haunting romantic 19th century engineering poem that straddles lower Manhattan and Brooklyn. One night they struck near the top of the giant stone parapets of the bridge. The next morning, a few 100,000 people riding trains on the Manhattan Bridge just to the north could see the same Smith tag. That is true. I should see that shit on the highway. A million riders will tell you that they thought of doing it, said J.A. admirably, but only the Smiths went and did it. The audacity of these, I've actually been up there before then, me and JJ, yeah, but we did silver tags. You could barely see them from the highway, but yeah, we've been there before them, like maybe 8-10 years before that. All right, the audacity of these boys and their status of privileged children. This is funny, I was just fucking saying that. In this thing, we're going to tag my part 1, part 2, part 3, and 4, I think it was, of JA. And this is like exactly what I was fucking saying. It's almost like I was reading from this fucking book. The audacity of these boys and their status as privileged children made them choice targets of the police and government authorities. Law cases involving white graffiti writers made the papers, and the white boys were prolific. The Smiths and J.A. were sued by the city with their parents also named because the vandalism had occurred while they were minors. Then there was the handwriting analysts, the case brought against Todd James by the Manhattan District Attorney, Todd James is Reese, by the Manhattan District Attorney, who tried to prove that the Reese tag discovered on a row of trains one night was his. Of course it was. The prosecutor just couldn't establish it was in a matter of law. I know my friend Feck, TFV, he got caught too. And they had all that handwriting specialist shit in there too. But you really don't write like this. You write like this. So yeah, it don't work. It's been proven, like they don't even use that hand specialist, like that type of forensics that they don't go down anymore. Where were we? I discovered a row of trains one night, and of course it was. The prosecutors just couldn't establish it as a matter of law. For all these kids, seeing their names on the news was just another way of getting up. Writing their tags, their graffiti names, so was getting arrested. One week, Roger Smith was busted in a rare twin success. The cops nabbed J.A. the following weekend. He was taken to the Transit Police Vandal Squad office in East New York section of Brooklyn, where he was booked. I went into the bathroom to wash the fingerprint paint off my hands, J.A. recalled, and I looked in the mirror and saw something on the wall behind me. Nah, it couldn't be. I turned around and sure enough, there was a Smith in that squiggled handwriting above the urinal. He tagged the Vandal Squad's own bathroom in their own fingerprint paint. As they drove across the country and interstate, J.A. and Reese got up in the California desert of Oklahoma into Texas. No hassle. The stakes were bigger, though, because of the slow-moving court in the southeast. Yeah, we'll go on with that later. I really don't see nothing much in here, other than the fact that they're rich, like I've explained in my part 1 and 2. You could have a car, maybe, if you live in Bushwick. Yeah, this is about Smith and Sony and them. Maybe I'll pick that up next time. Yeah. Or should I continue on? I guess you guys can't respond back. I'll buzz through it real quick. You could have a car maybe if you lived in Bushwick. Yeah, this actually proves another point of mine. How he just like crosses people's shit out for no fucking reason, you know. And I really want to break it down and save it. Let me stop it now, start it again, so I know I got another half hour. All right, there we go. Now, Bushwick, Brooklyn, Sony, S-O-N-I. I believe he passed away. I don't want to get the names wrong, but yeah, 2 of those guys actually died crossing JA out in the one tunnel on like 59th Street, Columbus Circle, I believe. I might be wrong about the station. I had nothing to do with me. I remember reading about it in the newspaper or something like that. But yeah, 2 of those guys actually got ran over by a subway train writing graffiti over JA. But here we go. You could have a car maybe if you lived in Bushwick and you had enough money. Sony's father had a car. He got up at 5 in the morning to drive to his bodega. He ran. The bodega is like a delicatessen. He ran. And he stayed there until midnight. This wasn't a nice suburban town where there were arguments about borrowing the car. The old man had the car 18, 19 hours a day. That was it. But New York kids don't need a car to get around, even when their arms are too short to strap hang, that's hold on to the thing of the subway, long before they can apply for a driver's license. Bushwick's kids have the L train, the Canarsie line. The L train could take you anywhere. You could ride it all the way into Manhattan, but even on shorter journeys, a new world rose above every local stop. Myrtle, DeKalb, Jefferson, Morgan, Montrose, Grand, Graham, Lomer, Bedford. Those are just stops. Or you could, as Sony did, ride it to the G train, but this is all bullshit, man, blah, 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 blah. Around the same time, J.A. went to work in Hollywood. Sony started a job at Pergament Paint, a discount hardware chain in Middle Village area of Queens. It was a long commute, but he had to get some money. He was thinking about college. Today, though, Sony was off from work and with Slick, I believe it was Slick and Sony that passed away, and Audi, was heading into the city on the only car they'd ever known, the L train. They were going to take care of J.A. once and for all. This was it. A few cans of gray spray paint had been procured, and there was more with Sony's cousin downtown. The truth was they were all getting a little tired of graffiti, but J.A. wouldn't let it die. The pride of U5 crew, that's the crew, U5, that's Nash once again, Nash, OA, U5, their graffiti posse was at stake. The beef with him had started a year before when they had done some big pieces out in the train layup at 121st Street in Queens. A very sweet layup it was too, because the trains would be parked on some elevated tracks between rush hours from 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. That's what I used to call a pull in and pull out. You know, it's like during rush hours, so in between they pull them out. You get the idea. You could go there and take off your shirt, catch some sun, and work in the leisure of daylight rather than in the shadows of the tunnels. The boys from U5 had hit the yard with greenhouse paint. It's weird. I remember seeing Smith and Sane doing that once with white house paint, but T-shirt using rollers. They had curd 3 cars from top to bottom, windows included. That was the base. Then they launched the colors. They'd started several pieces, masterpieces or burners, when the police arrived. After the members of the Bushwick crowd had either escaped or gotten handcuffed and led away, J.A. arrived with Smith, and they proceeded to write all over the cars that the U5 crew had just begun. You use white, yellow, baby blue, pastel, aqua, hot pink, plum, and you blend with the colors to make a vibrant piece against your background, explained J.A. I never seen him do a piece a day in my fucking life. That's a fucking thing there. But maybe he actually attempted to do a piece, so I can't say it's a lie. But, come on, let's be real. Alright, anyway. You use white, explained J.A. They didn't get halfway through that stage when they were raided. I didn't know what it said or even who wrote it. If it was done by someone I knew, I would have tried to finish it for them. Instead, he launched a rocket attack on his own tags. This was the start of the hostilities of Fort Sumter of the late graffiti period. U5 and Sony led the retaliation, began to write over JA tags. He buffed back and so on for weeks on end. No one was running any productive pieces on the train. One day there was a call to JA from Sony. Sony says, "We want to squash beef with you," said Sony. "Call off the quarrel." "Fuck that, you dissed me, man. That's that. Time for war. Let's meet up." "Nah." "Yo, why don't you want to squash beef?" "Yo, you set it off. You know, face the music." "Yo, man, come on. Let's meet at 121st Street layup," said Sony, picking the same train yard where it had all started. J.A. considered for a moment. "Yeah, I'll meet you there at 12 tonight. Dress warm." Bet. And there is no names there. It's like reading like theater, but it don't say like Sony says or J.A. says. It's just that's how it's written. That night, the U5 crew waited for J.A. They had brought a bucket of yellow house paint and began to tag the cars with handprints. Sony and Audi did burners. As the hours stretched on, no JA. Someone kicked in a few windows on the cars, frustrated by the arrogance. Around 2:30, the last of U5 had actually left the yard through a hole in the fence next to the Long Island Railroad tracks. A few minutes later, JA and 2 pals strolled through the same hole. They pulled out their spray paint and slashed the U5 burners with paint and laid their own tags on top. The coup de grace. J.A. wrote, "Victory is mine." Again, eat shit. Gratified by his labors, J.A. drove back to Manhattan. The next morning, his phone rang early. "Yo," said Sony, "you didn't show up." J.A. laughed. See, now they actually do have the names. J.A. laughed. He could roll out of bed, still half asleep, and spit a rival square in the eye. Think! Yeah, square in the fucking eye. He's a badass. I just waited till you guys left so I could stamp all your shit, said J.A. Now that's a punk move. That's a fucking punk move. That's the reason I'm actually reading this shit to you. That is a big ass punk move. In my eyes, U5 won. Anything beyond that point, boom. Yeah, that is a punk ass move. You're gonna say this and that and yell it. Punk move, bitch move. Yeah. Alright, Sony realized then what J.A. had done. That the train would parade the humiliation across the city. He scrambled for retaliation tactics. Yeah, well, one can is going to dog all that shit you did, said Sony. Too late, crackled J.A. It already pulled out. Like the train's not there no more. It's on the line. All right. Where were we? What time do we got here? We're good. J.A. already pulled out. Sony knew the time and knew that J.A. was right. The train was already in service. Just something to make them feel stupid when they saw the train go by, J.A. later explained. This was the last attempt at a truce between U5 and J.A., although for a while the war went into an extended ceasefire when J.A. moved to L.A. for his work in The Karate Kid 3. After a couple of months, the guys in U5 were getting restless, their lives were going on, married, kids, jobs, graffiti writing was getting old. The trains were beat, the trains were clean. A train with a big piece on it, something you'd worked on all night, wasn't going out of the yard. Hell, a train with a tag wasn't going out. It was getting to be a waste of paint and time. Audi called the meeting and made an announcement. This is the deal. We're going to close down U5 for 90. Before then, we're going to king the city, the streets right everywhere we can. After we reach the goals like that, we're all going to quit writing graffiti. Later, Audi explained it went beyond train streets. Mainly what he hit was now trucks in the streets, and things still move like trains and garbage trucks. Audi could talk tough. He could talk about king in the city, but his boys were growing out of it. Then one day, J.A. returned, and he seemed to have more paint than God. We're going to leave it there, people. Real quick, what I want to say is, yeah, that's all bitch moves, man. First off, like I said, the kid's like a fucking billionaire, man. I mean, some says, oh no, he's only got $27 million and this and that. And that's when I was only talking about Rocky. I actually left out the fact that he did the Karate Kid 1, 2, 3. He actually hired J.A. for part 3. And I forgot the fact that he did Lean on Me or Stand By Me or whatever the fuck. His little kids running around and shit like that. Yeah, isn't that like something Goonies or something? No, it's regular little kids. It's not that big retard. But you look at this whole fucking thing. That's exactly what happened to me. That's exactly what he fucking did. Now, you look at that type of mentality. That is like a rich boy mentality. Like I said, a billionaire. He probably had a pony for his 9th birthday. You also look at it like this now. I want you guys to think back all these movies. All the way back. Not the movies with John Avildsen, the father. And I do say Avildsen. A lot of you guys say, yo, I shouldn't say his last name. But he's done interviews, like you've just seen in this book. It actually says his name. He sat in front of someone, okayed, signed off on all this shit. And he's been on the Howard Stern show, John Avildsen, and even sat there talking about his father and stuff like that. So a lot of you people asked, and I said, you know, I'm just going to hold off on that because obviously it's written all over the place. I mean, he even had a podcast or something like that, or something on YouTube someone was telling me. I don't know. I couldn't find it, actually. What else was there? Yes, all this shit here, that's exactly it. And if you look at any of these old movies, like comedy, Animal House. Remember Animal House? John Belushi, and they're in fraternity. And then you got the rich kids in the rich fraternity, and they come over and they're always fucking with the poor kids. Meatballs, Bill Murray, another classic movie, Meatballs. It's like a camp. You have the rich kids camp, and then you have the poor kids camp. And the rich kids are always trying to fuck up the poor kids and get rid of them. Like, that's exactly, like, every fucking, like, that's like movie script 101 and shit. It's like just the basic way of things. And like I've explained in part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4 of my beef with JA and the whole thing. In a nutshell, this pretty much brings it home. Like, I mean, he's running around California, he's crossing out the Bloods and the Crips for no fucking reason. Like he said, K&S, whatever the hell the crew is out there in the West Coast and this and that. He's crossing them all out. Like he said, for no reason. It clearly says it right here. For no fucking reason. I lost the page now. But yeah, it clearly says no fucking reason. I don't remember the page. But that's the kind of shit. It's like pranks and tricks and antics that are pulled. And that's what, not just him, like I said, I got no beef with JA. I mean, I am honestly just telling my story, and I'm sitting here with my little podcast. I've been arrested. I don't write graffiti no more. And I got no problems with the guy. But what happened is what happened. And that's what I'm talking about here. So fuck that. It is what it is. Yeah, I got this little light on here now just because of the fact that I was reading. But now I'm not reading, I'll turn it off. Or would you guys rather it on? Because I think a light bulb blew in here. Let me keep it on. Now, yeah, all these movies are scripted. Hell, even the fucking Karate Kid is like that. It's holy shit, that's true. The Karate Kid is like that too. Like his part in the movie, right? And he's, what is it, Snake or something like that? And he's picking on that poor little Italian boy. Yeah, that Marciano guy. Yeah. Yeah, and even the movie Karate Kid, you got like the snibby ones are like, oh no, we gotta beat him. Like, yeah, that's that kind of shit. And that's the shit that they fucking pulled on me. That's that same fucking shit right there that they pulled on me. Yeah, that's the same fucking trick that they did to me, but the only trick was they didn't fucking realize who I was and how I get down. And then they had to go and get all his friends. Yeah, get all his friends, and they still didn't fucking win. Yeah, you think about it, man. I stayed strong and fucking hard until 2015. This dude's disappeared for many years. Like I've said with every other writer, there's no one out there who's out there as long, hard, and as illegal. There's a few of you people actually say, oh, well, no, that's not true. This one and that one, and T-Kid, Scene, and them. And no, I'm talking about illegal. And I do believe Scene might still run around and do a freight train here and there or something like that. You know, but these people are doing legal stuff. I'm talking about illegally. Illegal, not legally. Whole different animal. I could sit around and, hell, you give Tracy a couple of bucks, he'll fucking paint something for you. You know what I'm saying? He goes back to day one. Hell, even Taki. 160, yeah, what do you fucking do a graffiti for you for 50 fucking bucks or 100 bucks? I mean, Taki's got money. That's not necessarily true. But you get what I'm saying, right? I'm talking about illegally going out there and tailgate shit, just taking shit down. Yeah. And what I mean by he didn't realize who he was really fucking with is the truth, because after that, like people, like I said, from like John J. Park and shit, like people I grew up with, like, yo, they were laying in front of that dude's house. Like, JJ kicked that dude's front door and like rode all over the building. John was actually going out, John John was actually going out with a girl that lived in that building and wrote on all the building, all the hallways and everything, wrote the guy's full fucking name. Yeah, people out there are currently in prison right now for murder that was sitting out in front of that guy's house. I didn't partake in that shit. I knew, you know, if it quacks like a duck, it feathers like a duck, it's swimming around the pond and you're feeding it bread, it's a fucking duck. You got me? So I knew, like, this is just another little rich boy, like, being a dick, you know, like, using us to kill time. Like, you follow me? Honestly. Some people, this is a good one, too, I would like to get in. I mean, it probably sounds like I'm bashing them, and I guess in a certain sense, it is that way. Yes, I guess it does seem that way, and yes, I'm just speaking my mind. But someone else had mentioned they would like to see a podcast. J.A., John Avildsen, to do a podcast. Now, what's he really going to do? What's he going to honestly talk about? What's he going to talk about? How he snuck out past his curfew and stole his father's fucking alcohol? Was running around smoking cigarettes in the men's room with some shit like that in high school? Like, come on, what the fuck? You got me? Like, yo, yeah, no, I don't think so. I could tell you people that I wouldn't mind hearing about. T-Kid. T-Kid would do great doing something like this, I think. Min would be it, man. Min, RTW, definitely. Tracy would be a good one. I mean, who else could I think of? There's a couple of people out there. But yeah, like, I'd love to hear about what J.A. would do. What you gonna say? He walked into the fucking store. Like, I honestly, the one thing that does stand out in my mind here is why he would have to steal thousands of cans of paint. You know, like you got money, you know? Like, yeah, that don't make sense, but to each their own. I mean, Winona Ryder. the actress, Winona Ryder, she got caught stealing lipstick or something like that once when she was at the top of her career. Hey, I stole shit when I had a bunch of money. Who knows? But the reason behind it, who knows? And yeah, I guess I could say all that. What else could I bring to the table about this whole thing? I'll think of something some other time and we'll cut it. But I'd like to leave it there. Right? What else could we say about this shit? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Some of the people that actually he pissed off are actually in prison for murder. That I know, like, that don't even write graffiti. They were just like, yo, fuck that dude, man. You know. I also, another thing, I spoke to Kid One. He's going to come on here one day. Right now, he actually has a broken neck. Kid One, Mark, a lot of you guys are asking me, yo, whatever happened to Kid One? He's all right. He's got a broken fucking neck. He literally broke his fucking neck. I don't know how. Didn't ask him. Couldn't talk much. But he did tell me before he broke his fucking neck that, yeah, he's going to come on here and he's going to talk about when he met J.A. down in the village somewhere. And I think he had a Honda or a Hyundai, a red car or something. Kid One threw a garbage can through his fucking car, his front windshield. And J.A. had him locked up and he went to Rikers Island. So one time I did tell you guys that, you know, he's never ratted. I can't say nothing bad about him in that area. But yes, I never knew this. I never knew it. He had my boy Mark, who wrote Kid One, Kiddone 357. He had him locked up and sent to Rikers Island. Did like 4 or 5 months for that shit. Yeah, he threw a big wire garbage can right through J.A.'s window. He was trying to run from him and shit like that. So Mark picked up a garbage can. I think it was right on 8th Street. Something like that. A red Hyundai, and I asked him, I said, yo, you got to come on my podcast and talk about that shit. He's like, yeah, definitely. He only lives about 8-9 blocks from where I'm sitting right now. I see him around, we hang out, you know. But he wants to cut his hair too, like him and Lace says he'll come on here. And Lace's hair is like probably like how mine is right now. But yeah, Kid One, his hair is down to here now. It's long, you know, looks like Jesus. Beard and stuff like that. He's got his tattoos and shit. So yeah, he might want to fix his hair up. I told him, I don't give a fuck, man. You know, you could come on here. You don't got to be all like some pretty boy, you know? You don't want to go looking like a fucking yuppie or nothing. It kind of defeats the whole purpose. But yeah, also my boy Rum's going to come on. He's got some good stories, man. Yeah, me and Rum, we doing some funny shit. He was actually with me at the Expo with the book signing thing. Got another good one. You see this book here that I was just talking about? Subway Lives, right? I was just talking about this book. My boy Alex, he used to write OR. Right? Now he was like, yo, you know, that book, Robert, that you mentioned, because I mentioned it in my past part. He's like, I would like to get it. What's the name of it? And I'm like, dude, you can have this book. Like, once I'm done doing this podcast with you, can have the fucking thing. Like, I'm not going to keep it. And this and that. And that shit got me thinking. Like, you remember this, the Espo book that I talk about, where he's got me in there fighting Chino and getting beat up and people yelling, go home? It's once again, it's the end of that Rocky movie. With Rocky, yeah, look at the Espo stalked me. That's the podcast I did. Espo started stalking me. You can hear the whole fucking thing. I don't want to go through it again. But that book, it's The Art of Getting Over in the Millennium, right? So I actually had a copy of it, and I went to the book signing at Joe's Pub. Like I said, they went through all this shit to get me in that book, and then didn't even invite me to Joe's Pub to the book signing. And I told him I knew it was there and this and that. He's like, well, you know, people are saying I got to hire more security and this and that. You know, Rob, I don't. And I told him, I swore to him, I will not do anything. I said, I will not. And he's like, oh, you know, I can't have you coming there. I said, dude, I know what a fucking place is. If I want to go there, I'll fucking go there, dude. You know what I mean? I'm like, he's you know, just that, and, you know, certain people are scared. I said, what do you think? We're going to be hiding in the bushes? You know, because it must have gone, he's from Philly, but it must have gone back to them, the motherfuckers, you know, how we roll around here. You know what I mean? So that shit got back to him. I was like, yo, dude, man, what do you think? We're fucking, I'm going to be hiding in the bushes with my people? If I want to go in that motherfucker, I'll go in it. So he invited me in it. And he gave me a black book. He was nice to me, Espo. So he gave me a black book, like I was explaining. I was doing big lines of cocaine in there. Everyone's looking at me. You know, I was showing off. I was whipping out big lines of coke. Yeah, you got to watch the whole episode. But anyway, I got that black book, right? It's a black book, you know, The Art of Getting Over in the Millennium is the name of the book. So, you know, I swear, I have that book. Right now, it's currently worth like hundreds of dollars, like $600, $700, $800. I see it going for. So I had it signed by most of the people that were in that book. The only people didn't was Ghost. He came in, but he left. He was with a pretty girl, a Russian girl. I guess he probably saw me and was like, ah, jeez, I don't want no problems. And he got the fuck out of there. Maybe that's the reason. I don't know. I don't know why someone would take 2 steps in and run away. Not run away. That's not nice. I take that back. He did not run away, but he did take the girl with blonde hair and went out of the place. I made eye contact with Ghost, and that's exactly what happened. I did go to that place with Rum. Rum, that's the only human being I brought. Is an Assyrian dude. Yeah, the dude from, he's from Iran, but he's actually Assyrian. And I'm going to have him on here, and he'll talk about it. But the funniest thing is, you know, I'm talking with OR with this book, right? This Subway Lives, this book. And he's like, yo, I was like, dude, I'll give you this copy, bro. You can have this copy when I'm done with doing this podcast and stuff. And we were talking about Getting Up, the book that Lace is in. Yeah, it's an old book way before Subway Art and Street Art and all that. And, Wild Style and the movie and all that, or Star Wars. It's before, I believe it's before all that. I could be wrong, but it's like the first graffiti book. And Lace, the dude I wrote graffiti with, the guy who got me into graffiti. Lace, ESP-TED. Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about that book. Getting Up is the name of that book. Saying he's like, yeah, you know, this, that, and we're talking about the Art of Getting Over in the Millennium. And I swear to you, man, yo, I sold that shit. I got $20 worth of cocaine for that shit. I cooked that shit up and smoked it. I'm dead fucking serious, yo. I go, I cooked that shit up. You know, you get the cocaine, you put the little baking soda in, you spin it around, you know, whip it. Yeah, I smoked that shit up, man. $20, like 2 hits of crack. Yeah, fucking think worth like $800 or $900 now, man. And I had it signed by everyone. Actually, Stan, he's dead now. Stan, a few of them people actually signed that book as dead now. Yeah, that's a good one, man. I smoked that shit, yeah. I smoked that shit. Fuck that. Yo, take care of yourself. Alright people, I watched through the video before I posted, like always. I noticed it was all blurry. That's because it was a thumbprint right over the fucking camera thing. I didn't catch it. Probably from the video before this. I went like that. That's probably what happened. But it's blurry, but you guys can hear me well and all. What else do I want to say? Yeah, that's about it. I thought of another movie where it's like spoiled rich kids and shit like that, fucking with the well, you got so many of them, like, what is it, You've Been Served, right? Yeah, like Juilliard School, Step It Up or something like that. Yeah, it goes on. Revenge of the Nerds, that's another one, Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah, that's the shit. Like, he pretty much treated graffiti like a prank phone call. I've explained it all in my past other things, and yeah, it was just, yeah, strange shit. Like a Karen. He was like Karen. Yeah, he pulled a Karen. Yeah, that's a perfect example. And he himself, in that interview, I mean, you can't announce who you are or not in this world. You are who you are. It's the bottom line. But as far as it goes with fucking with me, I never done nothing to him, man. Never. Proves right there, like I said, he messing with people in California for no reason. No reason at all. You know, he was fucking around with us and shit. He realized, wait a minute now, you know? Yeah, he started to get all his little friends and stuff. I mean, they're still all just a bunch of little punks. I mean, I got friends too, you know. But I really, really, honestly, I swear, I honestly just kept hitting the subway. So I said, fuck this shit. I ain't gonna fuck with a little rich kid, man. I swear, I really didn't bother with it. He never fucked with me again on the subways. He would hit me out in the streets like he got Ghost and them all twisted. You just watch the podcast. I'm gonna link them, my son will link them into the description of this. Is that how you do it? Yeah. And, yeah, once again, I would like to thank all you guys. And leave that dude alone, man. What is it? Tocer? T-O-C-E-R or something like that. Like I said, he clearly made a mistake. He's apologized and this and that. And I got no ill will towards the guy. But it is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. J.A. Yeah. Watch, you'll see. This guy will be doing this shit to everybody. Take care, people.